I have had this wig for 5 years. Look at that. Now, I'm not saying this is the most amazing hair you've ever seen in your life. However, I made this wig myself. I ordered the hair from AliExpress, some regular AliExpress hair. I sewed this wig myself and I have kept it for 5 years. So this is not a hair review. This is a video on how to take care of your wigs, because it doesn't matter if you get the best raw hair in the world or some regular cheap AliExpress hair, provided it is real hair. This is not about synthetic hair. If you have that, it doesn't matter what kind of hair you have. If you don't know how to take care of it, your hair will not last for a long time. It will last for maybe 2 to 3 months. It will last maybe a year if you're lucky, but it will just be looking bad. And this is the first tip. This is more like focused on protecting your frontal or your closure. This is actually a closure wig. If you want to prolong the life of your closure, you want to make sure that you're not unnecessarily constantly gluing it down, okay? I know everybody likes that look, but if you live in a hot climate like me, or you're going out partying and you know your wig is gonna constantly be lifting, a lot of people will carry like a mini got-to-be spray so that as the night's going on, if your wig lifts, you can like re-glue it down. And that is perfectly fine for a special occasion, but if you do this very often, it's going to add a lot of wear and tear onto the lace. So if you want to be lazy, make your days quicker and not have to glue your wig down, just throw on a random headband on top and you can be out the door. You don't have to worry about using glues. You don't have to worry about getting a separate headband wig. Just throw a headband on your regular wig and you are good to go. So let's get into care. To start off, you want to have a nice, simple, structured routine for your wig, because this is real hair. It is not synthetic hair. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like synthetic fibers thrown in there. It is AliExpress hair, but the hair is exactly the same. The first thing you need to do is just figure out what kind of hair do you have. Is it very curly? Is it straight? Is it very fine? Is it thicker? What's the hair texture that you have? Is it similar to your own hair? Because if so, you could probably just use your same products on the wig. Is it completely different? Is it a colored wig? Just think of that before you get into it. But the routine is still basically the same. It is a 3-step routine. The first thing you need to do is find a great shampoo. And I suggest a sulfate-free shampoo, because even though you use a lot of products on your wigs, you don't have buildup from your scalp, because this is not attached to a real scalp. And go for one that is more like for all hair types, but moisturizing, not something that is extremely heavy for like thick natural hair and it's really oily, because that will weigh your wig down. I tend to use professional products that are marketed like to everyone. They're just hydrating or moisturizing. So I just tend to use the same shampoo I would use on my own hair on the wig. Or if I buy a shampoo that's like, it works well, but it's nothing amazing, I will just solely dedicate that product to be used on my wigs. And then when it comes to the process of shampooing the hair, it is also extremely important to increase the longevity of your wig. So the first thing you want to do before you shampoo your hair is to detangle the hair thoroughly. And you detangle the hair exactly the same way you detangle your own hair. You would hold the hair taut, brush it from the ends, and then work your way up. Even if the hair is straight, you still want to make sure that the hair is perfectly detangled. And then when it is time to shampoo, you want to shampoo in a downward motion. You are lathering the shampoo and you're lathering it by just running it down the hair. You do not want to wash it like clothes or rub it around the wig cap as if you're washing your own hair, because that will make it a lot more prone to tangles. Because remember, this is not a scalp, these are tracks, and it is more prone to tangle at the roots. And if it tangles at the roots and it snaps and breaks, your hair is going to be like all different random pieces, and it's just going to start to look really terrible and it will tangle even more. Now let's move on to conditioner. When it comes to conditioner, I like to deep condition my wigs with a regular conditioner, simply because masks are usually more expensive than conditioners. And I have found that using a regular conditioner like a mask on my wigs works perfectly fine, so I don't feel the need to go and get a mask. But if you have a mask that maybe you don't really like, it's not really for a hair type, but it works well on the wig, use that product. You know, you don't want to waste any products. Whenever I find a product that doesn't work that well for me, it usually works pretty well on my wig because it's a different hair texture than mine. So what you want to do is use a moisturizing or hydrating conditioner all the time anyway, because again, your wig is not attached to a real scalp. There's no natural oils running down the hair, which means it is very prone to dryness. But an important conditioner I always use on my wigs is a color correcting conditioner. I don't use the shampoo because those prone to be even more drying, so I just focus on the color correcting conditioner. Even if the hair is black or brown, I will use a color correcting conditioner on it because as time goes on, the colors usually start to fade. It gets discolored by the sun. I have never dyed this wig. When I got this wig, it was just a regular very dark brown. Like, this hair doesn't usually come in like jet black. So, whatever that off black brown color was, that's the color this came in. And this has just been discolored from wearing it over time, from the sun. And the reason why it has this nice, beautiful, even color and nice undertone is because I condition it using either a purple conditioner or a blue conditioner. The current one I've been using is from Matrix and it goes on sale all the time. It's basically the same price as a drugstore conditioner, so I highly recommend that one. It is the best one I have used on this hair. I've used a few other ones over the years, but again, it's been 5 years. I really don't even remember what I used on it, but that's the most recent one that I can remember. That really makes the hair feel nice. I don't use that every single time I wash my hair, but I use it like almost every other time. And it just helps tone out any brassiness, any of the weird colors that might come from the hair just getting discolored. The way I deep condition the wig is after I apply the conditioner, I brush the conditioner through the hair evenly, I twist it around itself, and then I tie it in a bag and let it deep condition for 20 to 30 minutes. And then I wash that out and then I just leave it out to air dry. Okay, so now let's get into the moisturizer. I usually put moisturizer on the hair when it is like 80% dry, and I just get a regular moisturizer that I would use in my own hair. I just get a little bit of it, I dilute it with water, and I shake it up so that it is very light, and then I lightly spritz it over the wig, and then I let it fully dry, and then I can move on to my next step. So moisturizing, I always find that you need the tiniest amount, and throughout the week I usually only have to touch up with other products but not moisturizer. I find that this is the stage where everybody damages their wigs. I don't even know why using pink lotion on your wig is still a thing, because even if it was a great product for our own hair, which in my experience it hasn't been, that is a very oily product, and it's what makes your wig look like very sticky and clumpy and can even lead to breakage and excess shedding because your hair is sort of like very stuck together, and it reduces the movement and the body of the hair. So if you use a lot of moisturizers that are oily or heavy or thick, this could be the downfall of your wig. And you might be thinking, I'm taking care of it the same way I moisturize my hair all the time. I'm going to moisturize my wig the same way. You really don't need to. Speaking of things that severely damage wigs, let's get into heat styling, okay? Heat damages your wig the exact same way it would damage your own hair because this is real hair. The heat comes in the form of people who deep condition their wigs by boiling them. Like I see a lot of people say like, oh, if your old wig is like a year old or something like that, you can just get silicone mix conditioner, which I've heard is actually pretty good. Maybe you should try it. Put it in water and then you put the wig in there and you boil it. Some people even put it in the microwave. It may feel amazing shortly after because like the hair is warm, the cuticles are open, it's absorbed all the conditioner, and then you rinse it out. Down the line, it is going to get even more damaged. It is going to shed more. It is going to break more. And when you put conditioner on the tracks of your hair, it makes the hair so slippery and it starts to slip out even more because remember, it is sewn onto a track. It is not attached to your scalp. It is going to start shedding like crazy. And when it comes to heat, a lot of people always very harshly flat iron their hair. They use hot combs constantly, and then even an actual iron. I mean, if it's for a special event and you're some, I don't know what you have to do when you need to flatten a point of it, maybe fine. But this hair is usually naturally on the finer side already. It is usually pretty easy to straighten. Just use it, not even on the highest setting. You should put it like on the maybe around the 3, maybe maximum 400 degrees to straighten a wig or to curl it. And I don't even blow dry my wigs. I just let them air dry because I find that it is very unnecessary unless I'm really in a hurry, because it also releases the tension. And speaking of tension, I know it is nice to style your hair all the time, but if you know how to heat style your hair and preserve the wig properly, you won't have to constantly restyle the wig every single day. I see people that wear wigs, maybe if you wear your wig every single day of the week, every single night they re-flexi rod the hair, and that pulling and putting it on the flexi rod and styling the hair, even if it's heatless so you're not getting heat damage, you're going to get tension damage from the breakage of pulling the hair too tight and pulling it out of the tracks and out of the frontal or closure. So styling your hair like that all the time is actually going to damage the hair. And now let's get into oils. I actually do use oil on my wigs, but I always use oils that are more of a serum-like texture. I don't mind using cheaper oils on my wigs because it's not my hair, okay? So like the OGX, those little bottles of oil, or whatever oil that I have that's just like, it's fine. It's nothing amazing. I will go ahead and use that on my wig, but I only do it on the mid-lengths to the ends. And then if there's anything left over, maybe I'll put it all over the hair. And this is what actually helps maintain the hydration. I don't feel the need to consistently go in with moisturizer. Just that little like silicone oil usually does the job, and it makes the hair look really, really good. But I never use natural oils on my wigs, like plain olive oil or coconut oil or anything like that, because those are natural oils and they have a very high water content. Combing or brushing. This is something I hear a lot from people, and this is where they're constantly complaining about their hair tangling. But you also notice that your hair is tangling so much because you're constantly brushing it. Now, when you look at the curls and the shine and it's looking really good, you have that temptation to just constantly like run your fingers through the hair and brush it at all times of the day. But you really don't need to do that. If you have hair that's in great condition and it's hydrated and you've taken care of it well, people have a brush on hand at all times and you're constantly brushing the hair multiple times throughout the day, you are going to cause your wig to shed excessively because you're literally pulling the hair out constantly, and sometimes it's going to tangle, okay? Hair is hair. It doesn't matter if it's the best hair in the world, whether it is raw hair, whether it is processed hair, especially if it's long, it's going to tangle. And this leads me to length. A lot of people I find complaining the most about tangles have 30-inch long hair. And they're saying like, this is the best raw hair. I paid like $2,000 or $3,000 for it and I can't believe it's tangling. Here's the thing. Like I said, the longer the hair is, the more it's going to tangle. So if you have a bob, it is barely going to tangle. If you have waist length hair, if you have hair that's like past your hips, that's going to tangle more. Also, the heat and moisture of your hair, especially at the back of your head, will make that area a little bit more tangly. And so if you have even longer hair that's like moving around your back as you're moving as well, that's going to add more tangles. So you need to think about that when you're getting your hair, because it will also make it shed more, which means it's going to get thinner fast. It's probably going to have a little bit more breakage. Think about the length of your hair. I'm not saying get a bob because you don't want it to tangle. This is like around the perfect length of hair for me. I don't really like to go longer than this. This is like my max. It's either this or a little bit shorter. And this takes me into the split ends portion. Because this is real hair, it does get split ends. And what I find is with a lot of hair, especially now, I hate the look of wigs where the ends are like really thin. I don't mind U-shaped hair. I actually prefer U-shaped hair. I like the way it looks styled. Unless I wear my hair like bone straight all the time, maybe I wouldn't mind like a blunt cut, that's fine. But whether the hair is straight or in a U shape or whatever, the ends are usually thinner. So when I buy hair, I usually get it like 2 inches longer so that I can cut. And then as time goes on and as you brush your hair, you're kind of like pulling the hair out. The wig is getting a little looser in other certain areas. You will start to find that your ends may start to thin again. Maybe they won't have a lot of split ends, but it probably will have some split ends because you're brushing the hair. But the ends will get a little bit thin just because of the hair moving around. Every so often you want to go in and just cut just a little bit, like a half of an inch. You won't really notice the difference. Obviously, it's not real hair. It's not going to grow back, but it will look better. Now for storage, there are 2 ways I like to store my wigs. If it's a wig I'm not wearing very often, I like to store it in a satin dust bag, like the ones that like Victoria's Secret house slippers come in, if you know what I mean. But a lot of things come in those dust bags. You can just store the wig in there It's not going to get caught on anything. It's not going to be tangly. It's not going to lose any moisture. It's not going to get a lot of dust and dirt built up on it, and it can just sit and stay in place. And then the second way is to put it on a mannequin head, a wig stand, or a styrofoam head. You can just store the wig there so it can maintain its shape, it can maintain its curls. You can just put it somewhere that's not very dusty and not close to the sun, like near a closet or just in the corner in a dark room. Now, this tip I put a little closer to the end because this is a personal preference, and I know some people might not like this tip, but avoiding this will extend the shelf life of your wig. And this is sewing your wig down. I find that a lot of people that sew their wigs down have multiple wigs, or maybe they're influencers, or like they buy wigs like every couple months. So it doesn't matter if the wig doesn't last as long. But if you get this wig and you're like, I love this wig, especially if you like really invested in the hair, or it's like raw hair and you want to keep this wig for a really long time, try to avoid sewing it down to your head, because as you brush it, as you're sleeping, you add a lot of extra tension and movement and manipulation to the wig. It's going to make it sort of stretch out. It's going to make the hair shed more. It's going to make it more prone to breakage and tangles, and it will reduce the life of your wig. So I suggest just putting it on. If you don't want to glue it down, throw a headband on. And if you want to glue it down, then go ahead and glue it down. And when you take it off, you want to make sure that you're taking it off gently. Don't rip it off for the sake of your skin and your own hair, but also the wig. Spray some water down or use some oil, depending on whatever kind of glue you use, to melt it off, so that you just gently peel it off, and that will help save your wig and make it last for a long time. Also, the needle constantly going through the wig when you sew it down on your cap will also make tiny holes into the wig, and it will continue to damage your wig slowly. If you want more tips on wigs, please let me know, and let me know what you do to make sure that your wigs last long in the comment section below. Hit my face right there to subscribe if you did it in the beginning. Watch these two videos on the side of the screen if you'd like to see something else from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!